Hi, and welcome to my first ever sketchbook tour for YouTube. I created this sketchbook in 2019 and 2021. I took kind of a year and a half break kind of between there, just working on other sketchbooks and just kind of busy with having a daughter, and so I made myself this year get back in the sketchbook and made a goal to finish it by the end of this year, which I thankfully was able to do. So I just kind of want to bring you along in my sketchbook and show you different things I created through the last kind of 2 to 3 years. Alright, so like I said, I started this in May of 2019 and finished this month, which is December 2021. Wanted to make sure to finish it by the end of the year, and I definitely was able to do that. This was the first piece I created. I only had like one set of on-the-go watercolors, and they were actually metallic, but I ended up making them work. I drew this kind of skeleton and just added some gold detail. I was actually in Washington, D.C. for a field trip with some students I taught, but I just kind of sat in the National Mall, kind of in between all those museums. This actually created on a vacation where I was driving with my husband, and I really loved the long layout I was able to play around with. Don't remember exactly the inspiration behind it, but I really loved how it turned out. Another example of playing around with these metallic watercolors, I did not have much watercolors on hand. They were kind of the only one to my availability, but these are my two pups, Natty on top, Mooney on bottom. Metallics don't always look great in certain lighting, but I have loved how it turned out. So next page is this Pokemon spread. I just kind of started drawing one Pokemon. I think I started with Bulbasaur and just kind of went crazy from there, drawing a bunch of the other original characters, filled in the background with a bunch of Pokeballs, and honestly had a lot of fun with this. I was a big 90s Pokemon fan back in the day. Alright, then these pages I was playing around with perspective, 1 point obviously, so I had this kind of landscape with a road going to the mountains, and then played around with this kind of worm's eye view of the city. Again, playing around with those same metallic watercolors. They weren't anything expensive, just easy to travel with. So this is another spread similar to the Pokemon one, but with Harry Potter creatures. A lot of them from also the Fantastic Beasts series. Probably definitely one of my favorite movie series ever. I had a lot of fun just looking at the different characters, playing around with their textures, their colors, labeling what each character was, and I had a lot of fun with it. Alright, and then I did some pieces in here where I just kind of collaged some magazines, doodled some, just kind of playing around with adding things into my sketchbook instead of just doing normal drawings. Alright, so in this top piece I just kind of sketched out an idea for a jean button-up I had with the artist Frida. Just kind of was trying to test out different ideas for that. Bottom part was a self-portrait as Harry Potter, so me and Harry Potter mixed. What would it look like? Kind of fun one. And then top one, again, I was playing around with adding magazine, collaging, adding watercolor quotes, just playing around with mixed media. So this page was originally from 2019, but I painted over it with just some ideas that I wanted to do this year, like my goal of finishing this sketchbook by 2019, and now is the new later because I kept avoiding going to the sketchbook, so I just wanted to get started. These are the last two spread pages that I did in 2019 of just some branding ideas with some drinks, and then this little robot actually inspired by Cassie Stevens, an art teacher. Now this is my first painting I did in 2021, getting back into the sketchbook, creating on my own. I really loved how it turned out. I did 1 point perspective. I know kind of did that in the beginning, but I feel like it's evolved a lot from that beginning, and I really loved how it turned out. This next piece, I kind of want to just play around with portraits. It's something I really want to focus on getting better at this year. These aren't by no means, the greatest portraits ever. I just wanted to get back into trying and creating them. And I had some new Prismacolor markers that I wanted to test out and see how they worked in the sketchbook. So this piece was kind of experimenting with portraits, linking them together in those markers. This little piece I actually painted outside of my sketchbook with my students and then taped it in. And this was actually another idea that I just wanted to practice painting fruit for an idea I had for a project with my 8th grade students. Here's a couple more portraits. These were actually inspired by some artists I found online. These are not my original ideas, but you know, I've always been told you learn from masters, and so I kind of did a spin on some portraits already found online to kind of. Here on the left, I painted a butterfly. I used the website Unsplash to be able to look up a reference image and just want to play around with the textures, the beautiful lines of butterflies. So that's what I did. This is another piece I did inspired by that space theme with my art show, where they ended up choosing to do like keyholes to look into space. Alright, this piece on the right was the next one I created, and I honestly couldn't be more in love with it. Again, I think I used Unsplash, the website, to be able to use a reference, and I played around with color pencils and watercolor. I think color pencils for the turtle and its shell, and then watercolors on the background, and I couldn't be more happy with it. And then on the top, I wanted to do a piece that kind of had the same color scheme and same kind of vibe, so I kind of added the ocean and a sunset, and I kind of played around with a little bit of different style with outlining in black. Here I got a new art material, the Corace color pencils from Prisma Colors, which I'll show you. So here's an example of the blue version of it. So just trying to show you the name. It's kind of hard to see, but that is a pencil that I bought. I bought like a 12 pack, I think it was, of different colors, and so I wanted to test them all out. And so I did a different set of eyes for each color. Again, testing out the colors, how they perform, because I'm very new to it, but I've gotten a lot of recommendations by other artists that these are great materials to work with. So I just want to test them out and play around with very expressive eyes. These references I was able to use from Google. Alright, so this piece I did not really have any set goal in mind. I started with the top of the page, and I was wanting to play around with those same color pencils that I shared before, and just kind of playing around with making colors that they're not supposed to be. Like, I didn't do brown for the tree. I wanted to play around with, very colorful pieces, and then I just got inspired to this like underworld with these silhouette birds. Honestly, just having fun with it, and trying to make a fun piece. Alright, so then this spread I wanted to do more kind of Christmas theme. On the left side, I kind of played around with nutcrackers, using some references from life, and then also online to get more detail. And then on the right, I used my actual mantle, fireplace mantle, as inspiration to do these little stockings of mine, my husband's, my dog, and my little girl. On this top spread, I actually joined a Google Meet with the artist Jess Karp and her community. We first started by drawing this pug with just one color, doing one color study to play around with values. And then on the bottom, we picked one object that was around us to be able to do a color study of really kind of pushing, again, those different values. And some people took the initiative to try to play with complementary colors. So then, tying those same colors, I tried to do a fun piece. This is actually inspired by another artist. I know it starts with a Q. I'm forgetting her name, but I will tag her below. Just kind of playing around with these cute little bubble fish. On this page, my daughter was creating next to me, and she was dying to create in my sketchbook, so I let her scribble a bunch on this page, and I just kind of made it into something afterwards. For example, I turned this page, there was lots of greens and browns, so I turned it into a forest. And then this side on the right, I made sure each scribble kind of turned into something, and I mostly went with animals, looks like, but just trying to turn each scribble into a little something. Here I played around with a very colorful kind of mountain sunset scene. I really love playing around with this sketchbook, how you can really get a long landscape piece with it. So I really enjoyed it, kind of playing around with all these colors and showing the depth through this piece. On this page, I took inspiration from the artist Drawing with Waffles on YouTube. I'll tag her channel below. But this was the challenge of just going to your Pinterest, and I just refreshed my page and picked one image that was on the front page to do a piece by, and then refreshed again, and just kept doing that, and just I wouldn't copy them exact a lot of times. Some I did, some I put my own spin on them, but just kind of took inspiration from there just to create this fun full page, and I really loved it. So if you're ever stuck on an idea to do, I would really consider this as an idea. So on one of those pieces, it actually bled through the back of this page, and you could really see some of the details from the portrait. So I decided to cover up with post-it note, and then kind of had fun with it and did all kind of different size post-it notes that I had on hand. And then I decided to just create an animal that was somewhat on each of those post-it notes, just doing like very simple contour lines and using the website Unsplash as reference because they're free images that you are welcome to use. So I really liked how it turned out. It was kind of a fun piece. This page was also actually another piece inspired by the YouTuber Drawing with Waffles and practicing 2-point perspective. I know I've done a couple pieces with 1 points, but as you see here, I did 2 points each end and then created these lines going down to create the 2 points of perspective. And I did a couple cityscapes. I really played around with doing color schemes and trying to limit them. And I did a piece that was the bedroom there on the left of that page, where you can see living room. My living room actually in my own home, because I actually want to play around doing different colors. So it was kind of interesting taking a room, making my own, and then I did a little gingerbread house for the end, just kind of sticking with the holidays. So this page and spread was all about portraits. The very first one, I took an image online and pretty much copied it just to get warmed up. I just needed a reference to be able to use. Second one was Jess Carp. She has an Instagram and I follow her on YouTube. I really wanted to play around with really testing out those different colors, not the typical colors. And then I found a reference image that was a true photo and played around with pushing those colorful shadows and lights. And then this last one, I took an image and then from Unsplash and created my own. This piece is probably one of my favorite pieces that was in my sketchbook that I created, because I really took things that I love, like portraiture, skeleton, anatomy, abstract, and kind of put it all into one piece. And this probably, if I had to say where I really want my style to go or how I describe my style, is definitely what I kind of lean towards. So I really am happy, just kind of put a bunch of stuff together and really liked where it kind of came. Alright, this is actually a series I'm planning on maybe starting here very soon, either something with galaxy or astrology. I'm leaning towards astrology, but I did this first piece just galaxy, and then it made me go into more of astrology with Gemini. As you can see, I have 4 different versions on here on trying to decide which way I wanted to go with Gemini. I'm a Gemini myself, so I guess I took a little more time with that piece. And then you can see the little Leo. After I played around with Gemini, I tested one Leo out. This is pieces inspired by astrology again, kind of referencing back to that idea that I had before. And here I'm just kind of playing around with Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, and testing out what I like best. Do I like the black background and the galaxy as the animal, or do I like the galaxy background with the animal just in black and white? So just testing those out. I don't know where I'm going with this or if it will actually go somewhere, but I am really loving how they're turning out, and I might do a series coming up on it. I'm just really loving the graphic style to it, the bold black lines, bold white lines, the fun galaxy theme to it. So I'm really excited where this kind of series might go to after this. So on this last little page, I decided to kind of test out the other astrology signs I have not done yet. Just little thumbnails to kind of practice what I might do for each. Nothing set in stone, but just kind of practicing in case I do decide to do a series on this. But that is the end of my sketchbook. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and especially if you're still here at this point. I just kind of wanted to share my process of my sketchbook and all the different pieces I had created. Like I said, I started it back in 2019, but I'm very proud of myself for finally finishing it and making that goal of finishing it by the new year, and I actually ended up even ending a little earlier than that. So again, thank you so much, and hopefully I'll have more videos to come. Bye.